welcome back to another episode, Walk the Talk Style. And today we're joined by the man himself, Mike Larry. Mate, thanks for joining us.
No worries, Chris. Thanks for having me.
So, Mike, you were one of the early adapters to EXP, and you're nearly 2 years into your journey, mate. What I like about yourself, you and I have a lot of similarities. We're not the highest performing agents, nor do we really want to be. We're more so the lifestyle agents, I guess you could say. Tell us a little bit about it, mate. The last coming up to 22 months since you started EXP, where you came from, how you finding things as a whole, mate? How's life?
Yeah, we're going well, mate, and I appreciate you having me on. So, yeah, you're right. I guess, we started the EXP brand over here just under 2 years ago.
Yep.
My background prior to that, I'd spent about 3 years in the industry, and then prior to that, I was in the Defence Force. So, the first 3 years working on the traditional franchise model, it wasn't not enjoyable for the best part, but once EXP came along and I assessed that, it just seemed to fit a lot more about sort of how I want to sort of live my life and operate, and allows me to do that system. Sorry. The systems allow me to sort of live that lifestyle, as you mentioned. And yeah, it's been great. I probably haven't had a day to complain about since. So really can't complain so far.
That's good, mate. So talking to a lot of agents, there's generally a pain point that happens in life when we make a change. There's a pain point I know I had for myself, why I shifted this way. Like, what was the turning point for you, mate? What was the trigger point?
Probably the big one was probably a culture. I think me coming out of a Defence Force background of over 10 years, I was used to a very sort of team culture, not every man for themselves. It was a case of you all look after each other. But as well, it was a integrity and honesty thing, and doing the right thing, all the time, rather than just, when it suits. And there were some culture issues as where I was, not for everybody in the office, but just somewhere that they just didn't align with myself. The real estate industry has a bit of a stigma around, either twisting the truth or painting themselves in a better light than what it is. And, I think it just got to the point where, for me, there, one of those trigger points was around not having the flexibility and the freedom to run my business exactly the way I wanted to. Because at the end of the day, it is my business, whether I'm the name on the door or the brand itself. It just wasn't allowing that little bit extra flexibility and freedom to do so. So the EXP model opens the doors for all of that. You can, without getting right down the nitty gritty, as I'm sure people know, the system now, it allows for that. And then, you can't lie about it. The remuneration splits in the traditional franchise office. You're losing 50% of everything you do, but you're paying for everything to earn that, to give it away. So the EXP model is saying, look, we're going to give you the flexibility to be your own independent person. And do business how you want and all that, and then be remunerated well for it, is become pretty no-brainer for me.
Yeah, so. Absolutely, mate. And I totally get it. Like, I can relate. I remember to my former life, there was half the troops you'd go into battle with, and you love seeing them every day and catching up with them for that camaraderie and that loyalty and that integrity. And then there's that other half that's just like, you used to have to drag yourself to just go into the office just to be around those certain individuals. So would you say with EXP, mate, you've gone out on your own, obviously, but do you still feel that sense of collaboration? Like, a lot of us work from home, mate. Like, tell us, you've gone from an office environment to the home environment. How's that shift and transition been for you?
Yeah, well, very good. But I guess in a way that it hasn't really been much of a change into what I basically got myself into, because, as you said, the having to go into the office and all that started to become a negligible reason to do so anyway. We all, as agents, were either working off a phone or a laptop anyway. So I got to the point, even prior to making the shift or even really knowing about EXP, that I was setting myself up at home and being able to sort of just be in my own sort of zone, I guess. So the shift over has been good. And one of the alluring parts of it was, being one of those early adapters, alongside yourself, was, we got what I was really excited about was we could start to take that brand in the way that we wanted to, and create the culture and all that. And I think what we've done over the last 2 years at EXP here in SA is we've got the right people on board that are happy to collaborate, happy to share, that aren't just thinking about their pocket, and where's the money coming from, where's my next client. In the previous culture I was in, even of about, say, 8 sales agents, you're still somehow finding yourself battle with, them for listings against each other, and there wasn't that integrity and honesty around it. At EXP here, we've got at least 21 maybe agents, and that collaboration is excellent. We all collaborate through either group text or SMS. We're regularly catching up. A lot of them align with the same values as I do, or probably almost every one of them, in our team. So I found it a great shift, a great change, and I'm, it's sort of, change is as good as a holiday, but, that change is just that sort of breath of fresh air, I think, and I'm really, really enjoying it. So,
do you miss the office? Do you miss the office environment? Has it missed you?
No, no, not at all. I don't have to sit next to the toilets. I'm in my little cubicle there and listen to everyone gas bag, and I still haven't needed a printer in months now with the new digital age. So that was the only reason I was going into the office, because for printing costs.
Free printing.
Yeah, free printing, which
50, give us 50%, you get free printing.
Yeah, exactly
right,
offering. Mate. So, and they got told to print in black and white because it was 8 cents for colour. So
yeah.
So,
like with that, mate, like let's talk about branding really quickly, I guess, because you're really on point with marketing. Like you're really glossy, you're really classy when it comes to your rep with respect to your branding, your image, and your marketing. Now that you've seen both sides of the fence, I guess, so you can actually validate both sides, coming from a franchise model to now this type of model. Like, how have you found your ability to brand yourself from former franchise life to now? How's that transition been for you? Like, do you feel has it been more difficult, challenging? What's it been like?
Not the slightest, because I think one thing agents forget when they go, all right, brand, what they picture is a brand as in, the colour, the wording, the name. Yep. A brand isn't necessarily just that. A brand is what people are saying about you, or, or what they think about you.
Yep.
So the ability to brand yourself, either model, to be honest, is, a good agent will brand themselves in their reputation.
Yeah.
But one of the, I guess, that probably final hurdle for me was, when I told people that like prospective clients, they'd ring me. I think it was just after I'd made the change across the EXP, and at the time, obviously, I couldn't have direct contact with past clients. But I had some that rang me up and said, we're considering selling, and we're looking to make a move. And I was upfront and honest. And I said, well, just let you know, I'm not actually at that previous brand that I was at before. And they went, to be honest, we didn't know where you worked. So what I realised pretty quickly, my name was my brand. My name, my reputation, and how I do things, that was my brand. Yep. Now, I get that there's a little bit more to it, but the ability to do that at EXP, and it's not a major change, and I think if you're branding correctly, you're branding yourself through your actions, your words, and I guess, as I said before, your reputation. So, but EXP, they have the ability to do that. It's not, a Ray White suburb, or, a Harcourt surname, or whatever it is, whatever that traditional franchise runs with. It's all across the board. We're one brand, but, I think it's just the way it's operated. I think it allows that little bit more flexibility. And we do have, I haven't gone down the path of that, running it as powered by, but, the ability, if I wanted my name directly on top of every piece of marketing, then I can do that. But I don't see that as, what a brand exactly is. Brand is what people are saying about you when you're not there.
Yeah, cool. So sounds like you got more freedom with your own branding and marketing initiatives.
Yep.
Do you find there's any compliance or a lot of red tape that comes around with you wanting to implement or, get off the ground some new prospecting and marketing initiatives? Is it kind of like do it your way?
No, it's been exactly that. Do it your way. Obviously, of course, we still, have those, minor guidelines in terms of we're using the EXP branding, but, that's So there's no, I haven't seen red tape. Like it's, and that's the best part about this company. They're going, right, it's agents, run by agents for agents. So they understand it's how can we make you grow and get better and get yourself out there and operate how you want to operate. So as I said before, that was one of the big triggers. I'm allowed to now go and do things the way I want to do them, obviously within that minor sort of boundaries, but yeah, it's just that complete freedom. I haven't come across anything. In fact, they welcome initiatives. They go, yep, that's actually a good idea. We've implemented so many more strategies, and all those little things that some agents are hit with the red tape on because of cost or whatever it is. But EXP have been so welcoming and open and said, look, tell us what you need, what you want, we'll get it done, or do what you want to do. At the end of the day, you're you, and you've got to operate how you want to operate.
That's one of the things I love about it, mate, is the leadership through to the agents, like people on the ground making decisions to support the agents to do what they need to do best are generally agents like myself, licensee here in South Australia. Sure, I've got to look after compliance and make sure everyone's doing the right thing, but I'm on the ground with you. I list and transact properties. So I absolutely get when you say we want to move this way with the marketing, or we want to make some changes that direction with our prospecting initiatives. I get it, because I'm not just a corporate person that sits in an office employed by a board of directors to work Monday to Friday in a corporate role. Like, I'm in the trenches, mate. I'll go to the opens with you. I'll work with you. I prospect. I do marketing. I do everything you do. So I think that's the most powerful thing about this model is it's, like I said, it's built by agents for agents, and it's driven forward by agents. It's not just a corporate job. It's a corporate role because I'm responsible to shareholders of the board as such in my role. It's like, mate, I'm one of you guys. I'm a trooper on the ground with our guys and girls. So I totally get it. Now, I know you're a man of numbers. You're very methodical when it comes to numbers. So I know on your computer somewhere in front of you, you probably have a little Excel spreadsheet. We can dive into this as little or as much as you like. You can give us a higher level view or a low level view, whatever way. 2 years, or coming up 2 years in EXP. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Mike isn't a $500,000 or $1 million performer, okay? And to be honest with you, that's not for everyone. It's not for me and it's not for Mike, and that's fine. A lot of the people that this model actually appeals to is the people who are right in between 150 to 450,000. If you write in excess of that, well, you're just going to keep more. I did a video last week with James Stacey. Whatever your gross income is, just minus $25,000 off of that income for the year, and that's essentially what you'll keep with EXP, whether it's 200 grand or a million in GCI. How have the numbers been, mate? 2 years in, we've spoken about branding, but what are numbers looking like for you right now?
Well, yeah, they've increased, and I think it's a good thing to track because I'm just trying to bring it up here so I can actually.
So when you say increase, you're talking about gross income?
Yeah, massively. Yeah, well, gross income. Gross commission. Let's go back to that step. Gross commission. I'll have it here for you. And you're right. Like I'm not a massively big numbers person, so bear with me on it. But so let's go the last financial year, because I switched over directly on the financial year of 2021.
Yep.
So I look back and I've tracked. You're right. I do have the spreadsheet. I've got every single sale I've done. I've got.
That's why I knew if I put you on the spot, mate, you would handle yourself tremendously well.
Yeah. So the way I track myself is the numbers is for each sale, and I go in depth as far as going what I put it on the market for, what I ended up selling for, how many days that was, and then what the commission on that was, right? So the previous one this year was light, but it was 130,000, right? So it was 130,000 gross commission under the franchise model. Not big numbers, understood that. But with an average commission of $8,176. Now, so from that gross 130, you take off a GST, then you take off a franchise fee, and then you're splitting that 50-50. That's approximately 65,000, I think my income was. That's still basically pretty much the close to a wage of a PA, right? So, not huge numbers. So we go into the next year. 2021 was my first year in EXP. Gross income, so gross commission increased to 160.
Okay, so you went up 30.
My average, so we're up 30, but my average, and with only one extra sale, right? So it was only one sale different. So what I've done is I've increased my sale price and I've increased my income. So my average commission was now $10,044.
Yep.
But the difference there is, I guess, as you said, minus 25 off that. Obviously, and I know my group ticket last year was approximately 140,000. So I've only increased my gross commission by 30,000, but I've doubled my net income, right? So for someone like myself who likes the lifestyle and I use real estate to fund a lifestyle, you know, and I spent that year at university full time, you know, planning a wedding and all that. The ability to not have to do so much more work, but take home an extra $60,000, pretty self-explanatory there, I think.
That's crazy, right? So for anyone watching this, if you're like a 150 to 250K rider, which most are, mate, like in our industry, that's, you know, majority are under that. But let's just be very clear as a recap. Came from a franchise when everyone probably thought you're not going to make it. You don't have a brand behind you. You are 3 years into the industry, which is still a bit of a fresh pup to some degree, really, to then going out by yourself with XP, backing yourself all in. You did one extra transaction that year, that first year with XP, then the former year as a franchise model, yet you wrote an extra $30,000 in gross commission and you netted just over an extra $60,000 in your bank account for that financial year in comparison.
Yeah. The funny, and I'm
speechless, mate. Those numbers are great to hear, mate, because, you know, that, I don't know. Well, mate, that changes lives. That changes lives. So it just goes to show, guys, if you're in a franchise and you're worried about going out on your own, Mike, 3 years into a franchise model, only sold one extra property, yet grossed an extra 30 grand, yet took home an extra $60,000+ that he got paid into his account for that financial year. And that's why we really talk about net income over gross income. That's a classic example.
Yeah, and I look at that and go, okay, so if I was to try and, I would just go, all right, if I wanted to take home $140,000 pre-tax, obviously, in the hand, at a traditional franchise model, that's probably having to be close to probably a $400,000 rider, because chances are you're going to need to be doing the numbers that require a PA to do it.
Correct.
So you're dropping another 25. If your office is going halves with you, fine. But you're probably dropping, say, $30,000 to $60,000 on a PA for you to be able to write those numbers to take you to 400 to reverse engineer yourself back to, you know, 150, 200,000. So, yeah, it like you said, it is life changing in the fact that the best part is I haven't really changed my lifestyle routine, and I've increased my income. And the other thing that points out is it was only one extra sale, but it was more sales than what I'd done with a complete new brand in an unknown brand. Like as of July 1, 2020, 2020, nobody knew who EXP was.
No one.
You know, in June 1, I didn't even know who EXP was. But it didn't stop me continuing on, at least at the same level. So, and I've had conversations with agents, and their argument is, oh, well, yeah, but I'll lose listings off brand and all that sort of thing. But you might do that. That's probably correct, but you know, it doesn't take long. You don't need to go bang and do all this extra work straight away, because your income's increasing based off the remuneration. And you know, look, we've all real estate go bang this year. And just to finish off, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're right, mate. Good. This is gold. I love it.
The other thing I like to look at is, because I've heard some rumours along the lines throughout our area that, you know, we're now seen as the cheap brand, but
your fee went up though. Your fee went
up, and it's gone up again this financial year to now being $11,500, and currently sitting on a gross commission written of 215 with about 50 to settle.
Wow! So you're going to have your best year ever right now, and your fee's gone up. So what was it? So your average fee when you're in a franchise was 8.5, was it? Then you went to
8,100,
and then you went to 9.5.
To 10, so from 8.1 to 10, and now from 10 to 11.5. Which I understand. Look, we've had a market increase, and you know, percentages will go up, but but now my gross income's going to be 200.
Well,
so contrary
to that though, mate, you know, a lot of people say, oh, well, the market's gone up, so fees, you know, have gone up because the buyers are paying for it. yeah, okay, on one side of the coin, that would be a fair assessment. But on the other side, listing and stock inventory is so tight. So a lot of agents are fee panicking. And I've even come up against that myself, is because they're, really so desperate for that next listing. There's only one way they can make themselves look more appealing, and that's by discounting their fees. So it's twofold. It's a double-edged sword, that one.
Fee recently, which I think added up to about 0.9%.
Yeah,
that was offered by an agent. So I was like, fair enough. It's your own. Get your money however you want it. Like if you want to do 100 sales at 1%, be my guest. Yeah. But what the brand here has allowed me to do is I don't need to fee panic. And the best part is, even if I've got a fee match, if I have to, and it's not my MO to just go out there and be the cheapest agent, I still know my worth as to what it is.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, if I've got to match that agent, or the business owner or the principal who's offering $5,500, $6,000 in some spots,
yeah,
I can now match that because I'm on a 100% commission split, as is that business owner effectively. But I don't have any of those costs. I'm not paying the PA. I'm not paying all the overhead, so I'm taking that 100%. And sometimes, you do that and you match it and you get the business that way. It's a little thing that, and most agents in my position, and that was what I was finding, those 2 years prior, was in our area, a lot of principals out there, and a lot of principals are just churning, burning, not doing massive commission fees per listing, but doing massive numbers, and then other people doing the work, and you'd lose to them because on fee sometimes, because I'd have to be charging double to get the same. Now I don't.
Yeah.
So it's a massive game changer.
Absolutely.
And listings
validate that.
If I win that listing, I get another one off it. All of a sudden, I've got that 10 grand back. So it's a huge game changer and shift. Sorry, I don't mean to keep cutting you off.
No, it's so true, mate. Because I was a former business owner, and one of the things that was lucrative to be a business owner was to pay yourself more. So if you had to do a little discount here, a little offering there, you could, because you're taking more of the slice of the pie as such. But when you are a sales consultant, you don't have the ability to do that. And that's one of the real powerful things. You've hit the nail on the head there with our model, is that you do now compete at a principal or business owner's level. If not, you're probably better off, because I wasn't on 100%, and you have that opportunity here to retain 100%. And it's a pure 100%. There's no 5 or 8 or 6% off the top there. It's like 100%, that's it. We touched on support, mate. So you've experienced office support internally now to virtual assistant support that is dedicated to you as an agent. How are you finding that? Cheryl on the front desk. Go on.
And that's the thing. And it's another, I guess, I wouldn't even say, it would have been a pain point, right? Because, again, there's, I understand the XP is still paying these staff, and we've got all the staff, the back-end support that any traditional franchise office has. But you would normally think, okay, now your sales admin manager or whoever isn't there at an office, you can't go directly to them. But it's so far removed from the truth, because the last office I was in, if I went to the admin manager, the answer I would get was, okay, just send it to me via email and I'll get to it. Now that email ends up down the bottom, and the emails keep coming in.
Chronological order.
Yeah, chronological order, and then put in reverse, and then it just wouldn't get attended to. But somehow EXP we're still doing the same thing. Everything gets submitted via email online to your digital CRM. I don't need to be going into an office and handing over, an 8-page contract to be scanned in. It's just all done digitally, saved into the system, gets processed. They've put on a bigger team than a traditional office has, so things get done quicker. It's all the support is there, and it's so systemized in the back end that it's just smooth flow. I've never had a single issue. If anything, probably for the first time ever, I've had admin staff chasing me for the information because they're like, we're ready to process this. I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, I'll get that to you. So whereas the other way around was like, why hasn't that been sent out? Why isn't why hasn't this been processed, etc. I've got conveyances ringing for deposit receipts, and the admin staff haven't processed it because,
it's
someone
5
called in
o'clock,
sick
mate,
yesterday.
on a Friday. It's 5 o'clock
someone called in.
Thursday.
Oh, well, and that's the other thing. You know, like I wake up to emails from our admin side at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they're already on the ball. They're just doing things, you know, because it's just streamlining everything. You're not having to worry about getting up, getting dressed, going to the office. They can just get up in the morning, grab a cup of coffee, and just go bang, process 3 contracts before 8 a.m. Things done. Like it's phenomenally better.
One of the things it's taught me is how much productivity is lost by admin in an office environment. To be honest with you, like online, I mean, I guess it's different. Our team of virtual support assistants are working from home. So, yeah, if they need to plug in at 7 a.m., they can start at 7 a.m. It's not an expectation of us, but they don't have the half an hour commute to and from. And, you know, if they've got kids, they can care for their kids at home while still representing our team. That's incredibly powerful. You know, some of the girls will do stuff at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. They might have had 2 hours off during the day, maybe to look after the kid. You know what I mean? So they break their day up into chunks. They get in early. They might have a mid-morning break, get in, do a bit more work, have an afternoon break, school, pick up the kids, whatever, mum, dad duties. You know, break their day up into chunks that work well within their lifestyle. It's not a 9 to 5 normality as such. And a classic example of this, who I'm catching up with in a minute, Emily Geary, who's in our contract transaction department. One resource transacted and processed over 230 contracts nationally last month. One person in our transactional team. Crazy numbers, you know. So mate, just the last parting words, I guess. I'm just conscious of time. Anybody that's maybe looking at EXP externally, what would be a couple of quick tips, mate, of advice?
Look, it's a model, and I've said this from the get-go. You've got to be a self-sufficient agent. Again, it's not a magic silver bullet brand or system. Like, it's not without, I wouldn't say faults, but not without, you know, hurdles to overcome. And I think one of the only real ones is you've got to be a self-sufficient agent. You've got to have the ability to go, you know what, I know how to market, I know how to go out and attract business. In saying that, we're developing teams, you know, like together to help that, to help each other and build each other up. So we've still got some new guys on, but you know, the numbers speak for itself. You know, there'll be very minimal amount of people who are in real estate that aren't focused on the bottom dollar in their back pocket, you know, in the right way, of course. But you know, the number, and I'm happy to share this spreadsheet to anyone who wants it. Like, I'm not hiding from my numbers. You can see the increase there. Well,
that would be my tip.
Income in 2 years.
That would be my tip, mate.
I haven't increased marketing spend. I haven't done anything really different, and I've, you know, some people would still argue that I'd probably do it part time. You know, so you know, my golf game's getting better and my income's getting higher. So I'm not going to argue with that at all.
You've got the best balance, mate. I love it, and that would be my tip. If you're writing like 150 to 250K and you're getting your end of year group certificate of what you're actually taking home, you're going, geez, it was a lot of work for that little slice of the slice of the pie as such. Maybe get in touch with Mike, and that spreadsheet that he's got there, you can just plug some numbers. I know you're very analytical of that stuff, and he can maybe say, look, you know, that's what your numbers look like now. If we plug it into this model and this spreadsheet, this is what it could potentially look like for you in 1, 2, 3 years time, like it has for me. Mate, recently married, personal life is going. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. No, and I was just going to say one thing, and it might not sound like much, but you know, that 50 grand income, 60 grand income that I, you know, increased, A, probably paid for a wedding, or B, it bought a house. You know, so like, it's not a huge chunk in money, but if it allows you the ability to buy that investment property, set it, forget it. 5 years from now, like, your financial position really starts to change. You know,
it could be 5 properties, mate, or hopefully not 5 weddings, because they get really expensive. But yeah, mate, to pay for a wedding and to buy another property in that short period of time, you know, most businesses in 0 to 3 years look to just get to a break-even point. Whereas you've already surpassed the break-even point. You've bought a property, you've gotten married, your golf game's improving, the numbers are going up, and you've still got that balance, mate. That's vitally important. Yeah,
there's anyone that's self-sufficient, there's no need for that. In personal opinion, there's no need for that franchise model. It's it's really going to drain you in the long run. I think, personal opinion, of course, but yeah, I think the EXP model is going to be the way of the future.
Love it, mate. Appreciate your honesty. Mike, thanks for joining us on this episode, Walk the Talk. If you've got any questions about EXP, or if you just want to have a chat to Mike, just reach out to him. We'll put his details at the end of this. But thanks for joining us, mate. Appreciate your time. Know you're semi-busy, probably more busy on the golf course, hopefully. But appreciate you taking time any day to catch up with us, mate. Awesome. Yeah, thanks for joining us on this episode, guys. Cheers. Bye for now.
Thanks, mate. See ya.